of immunity only revives the growing concerns about the credibility of the Supreme Court itself. The justices spent a lot of time during the hearing talking about hypothetical situations and voicing concerns about how this ruling, one way or another, might affect the future of the presidency. However, some argue they didn't spend enough time on the specific case in front of them and the specific petitioner who brought it. The one man in this country's history who actively thwarted the peaceful transfer of power. It is unclear to us exactly how or when the justices will resolve this. It's possible, perhaps even likely, that their decision could add months of delay to Trump's federal election interference case. And if that happens, this case may not proceed to trial before November. And if Trump is elected to another term, this case may never proceed to trial at all. Joining me now is the former Democratic Senator Doug Jones of Alabama. On Thursday, it was in the very room where oral arguments were held regarding Donald Trump's claims of presidential immunity. Senator, good to see you. Thank you for being with us this morning. For folks listening in at home, the tension between some of those justices and the arguments they were making was obvious. Some of the members of the court appeared to be ideologically split on this. What was it like in that room? Tell me how you sensed what was going down.
Well, you know, Ali, it's always a very somber occasion when you're sitting in the United States Supreme Court listening to oral arguments. It's a very refined, very ornate courtroom. But, you know, look, I, for one, was not that surprised at the nature of the arguments, even with some of the hypotheticals. You know, justices ask questions for a lot of different reasons. And I saw some tension for sure, as I think there always is with this particular court right now. But at the same time, I also saw, in my view, that the court is not, as a whole, is not likely to at all to buy into absolute unfettered immunity, especially with the way that John Sauer, the Trump lawyer, argued for it. I just don't think that that's going to happen. But I do believe that we're going to see this case come back for some reason and have lower court proceedings.
Senator, you were the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Alabama, so you know how these things work. And obviously, judges and Supreme Court justices put these hypotheticals out there to establish the parameters, right? What is the argument you're making? What are the limits of the argument you're making? But to the point that there is a specific argument here as it relates to the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, did you sense that there was enough inquiry and debate and discussion around the specifics of what Donald Trump is accused of having done?
Yeah, you know, Ali, that's a really good question. But the fact of the matter is the allegations in the indictment stand for themselves, and there doesn't have to be a particularized questioning about those allegations, even though Justice Amy Coney Barrett came really close to doing that when she rattled off several questions in which John Sauer said that would be personal and not official acts. So I think we had more than that. But clearly, in any Supreme Court decision, you're going to be looking to how this affects down the road. In criminal cases in particular, you're looking at not only punishment, but deterrence. What is going to be that fine line? Because I've never believed, Ali, that this case was going to be resolved on a strictly bright line test of is there absolute immunity or not. I think clearly there is not going to be a ruling, in my view, that there is absolute immunity for official acts. But how you to define that? How you get some to where a president does have some leeway, I think is a legitimate question for the court that they're going to be looking at and struggling with. I think even the more liberal justices see that as well.
So the issue of leeway, in using different words, did come up. It's the how does a president do things that are not criminal for which he will not be prosecuted subsequently. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, whom you shepherded, by the way, through her Senate confirmation process, made some strong arguments about the possibility that if presidents are granted immunity from criminal prosecution for criminal things that they actually do, then the Oval Office could then, in her words, quote, become the seat of criminal activity in this country. She was distinguishing between presidents generally being prosecuted and presidents being prosecuted for what is determined to be criminal activity.
Right. Yeah, and I think that that's the key. I really believe that Justice Jackson kind of really set the parameter for this, because even if you look at the other hypotheticals, I just have a hard time seeing that some of the hypotheticals from the conservative justices are going to really broaden that immunity to the concern that we've got a former president on trial in any number of jurisdictions. But I think that that's going to be the key. I think the key is kind of having that balance from criminal activity that is clearly criminal activity versus the ability to carry forward your duties as President of the United States for national security reasons, for any number of reasons. It is a very nuanced. We are dealing with the President of the United States and their official activities. This is not a normal, everyday Joe or Jane. This is the president who has certain powers and duties under the Constitution. And so it is a lot more nuanced, I believe, than just simply a black and white issue.
So you mentioned that you think it's not going to end up with the Supreme Court suggesting that there's some sort of absolute immunity. But if the Supreme Court's decision does cause additional delays to one or more of Donald Trump's criminal cases, it seems that it raises the stakes of November's election even higher, because if Donald Trump gets to not go to trial before November, then the trial in the minds of some Americans, or the election in the minds of some Americans, becomes about the prosecution of Donald Trump.
Sure. I think that that's going to be the case for some Americans, regardless whether it goes to trial and he's convicted or acquitted. The one thing that I believe, and this is what I think where people will have to start looking at, is it's not the conviction and the trial. If this case goes back, there may very well, and I think it's likely, that there will be some evidentiary hearings in the court below, in the district court perhaps, in which you see several days of potential testimony and evidentiary hearings. And at the end of the day, Allie, it should be the facts that determine whether or not someone is fit to be president of the United States. Whether they are ultimately convicted with a jury beyond a reasonable doubt and to some extent to a moral certainty is one thing, but it's the facts. Remember, the January 6th committee changed the dynamic a lot because they brought out so many facts. I think the facts that we're seeing playing out in a New York courtroom right now are changing that dynamic too, regardless of the outcome. It's the facts, and their people are seeing a Donald Trump that they have not seen before in that New York courtroom, and I think they will see that should there be evidentiary hearings in the court below.
Senator, good to see you as always. Thank you for spending time with us this morning. Doug Jones is a former Democratic United States Senator for the state of Alabama. This hour on Velshi, we've got remarkable stories of courage, big and small. This weekend marks 30 years since the end of apartheid in South Africa, 30 years since Nelson Mandela ushered in a new era of equality. But the work in that country is still not done. Plus, one local reporter helped unify parts of this country by giving a voice to those who often go unheard. And it isn't too often that I bring you good news on the Velshi Band Book Club, but today I've got some. Malik Pancholi, author, activist, and actor, will join me.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65 and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. Options start at $9.95 a month. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-680-2288 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-680-2288. Don't wait. 1-800-680-2288. Call now.
Okay, ready to watch this? 1 second, I gotta finish my laundry.
Jess, it's girls' night.
1 second, I use Rinse.
What's Rinse?
The company that will pick up, wash, fold, and deliver your laundry and dry cleaning at the touch of a button.
I do not trust other people with my laundry.
Rinse guarantees your satisfaction. I've been using it for months now with no issues. Okay, let's watch this.
Wait, I'm gonna do my laundry.
Better hurry.
Done. All scheduled.
Sign up for Rinse at rinse.com to get $20 off your first order.
Does your windshield have a crack? Trust SafeLight. This customer had auto glass damage, but he was busy working from home. So he scheduled with SafeLight in just a few clicks. We came to his house. Then we got to work. We replaced his windshield and installed new wipers to protect his new glass.
It's great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
We come to you for free. Schedule now for free mobile service at safelight.com.
SafeLight Repair, SafeLight Replace.
At St. Jude, the mission is just something that everyone can truly get behind.
Get our little St. Jude pin there on the fridge.
We're just regular people donating.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool to be able to make a difference in someone's lives in a way that is meaningful.
The Keepsake Frames app makes it ridiculously easy to frame your favorite photos. Just choose a photo that you love, select the perfect frame, and you'll have your framed print delivered and ready to hang. Download the free Keepsake Frames app and start framing today.
Get this thing off of me!
You still haven't broken up with bad bras and gone to honeylove.com? Take your current torture device of a bra. It in no way fits your body, and the underwire
Stabs me in the boobs constantly.
not anymore, thanks to Honeylove.
Wow, there's no spillage and no gap.
And there's no underwire. Don't take it from me. Look at all these 5-star reviews. Women everywhere are breaking up with bad bras.
Waterline broke. Replacing could cost thousands. Not covered by homeowners insurance.
Honey, wake up. Here's Tom Rusin, CEO of HomeServe.
A plan from HomeServe pays for the covered repair cost for water lines, and we send a qualified contractor. The American dream of owning a home doesn't need to be a nightmare.
Sleep well with HomeServe.
Plans from HomeServe start at just $7.99 a month.
Call 1-800-355-9395 or visit homeserve.com.
I am prepared to die. Those were the famous words spoken by Nelson Mandela on the first day of an historic trial that charged him with high treason for his involvement in protests, strikes, and other political actions aimed at overturning apartheid. But ultimately, that trial would be remembered for placing apartheid itself on trial. This weekend marks the 30th anniversary since the end of apartheid, when South Africa's non-white population finally gained the right to vote and equality under the law. And by extension, all South Africans attained equality. Apartheid, which means apartness in Afrikaans, the language created by white settlers in South Africa, was declared official state policy in 1948. And it led to a system of racial segregation and discrimination that denied all people of color basic rights and subjugated them to institutionalized racism and economic exploitation. In 1964, Mandela, apartheid's most prominent opponent, was sentenced to life in prison for his role in the struggle against